He said, "Hey everybody, this is Petey from the Spitter Rack. We also have
Calvin Ellis, ready to rock.
now. We've asked for it in every Wolverine movie, and people feel that they got it in Logan. Nope. You just go to your PlayStation, and Marvel is giving us the Wolverine that we've been expected all our lives. So I'm just gonna let it play. Ready? You see the what maturity this is gonna be rough, y'all." Omega Red, you saw Omega Red? PlayStation Studios, baby. Here we go.
Fighting longer than I can remember.
You saw Game bro.
Oh my goodness. What? Insomnia. Yeah, I can see why they can't sleep.
I'd like to say I'm not a violent man. The trouble just has a way of finding me.
He doesn't like to say he's not a violent man.
Those better be androids.
That's where I go.
Jim Shooter said, yeah. Jim Shooter said those are all, they all went to the hospital and were repaired. Good Lord. Wolverine hasn't killed anybody. As per Jim Shooter, R.I.P.
Death's always waiting. Just not for me.
Oh, there's Mystique. She's killing people too.
I'm Wolverine.
They did all that and they used the full line.
Wow, look at all of that.
I'm Wolverine. I'm the best at what I do.
What I
I
do
got to,
is
hey,
very nice.
no, anybody else was like me. It was like, hey, you heard the line before you realized what I'm Wolverine. I'm the best at what I do. I was like, well, what is it? What is he the best at? And by the time I ended that limited series, I was like, oh, I got it. People. I was like, this dude's just a killer. That was that scene in it was Wolverine. It was number three of the limited series.
Mm-hmm.
Number three. And I don't forgot. It was like he was I guess he had like that he had all these dudes like trying to kill him or something. And then you just get this one shot, and there's just a pile of dead bodies around him. His claws are drawn, he's standing up, and Yukio is like, oh shit. I was just like, oh, okay, okay. I'm thinking, what is this dude? He's like, like, no, not fighter, not killer. This dude is very, very good at killing people. That's the best of what he does. And they're giving them exactly they're giving the readership what they want. They're giving the gamers what they want too. Fall 2026, you are going to get to kill like never before. Did you play Spider-Man 2 for
No, no, I
PS5?
didn't. No, I didn't.
Spider-Man 2 for PS5 goes out of its way to make certain that Spider-Man doesn't kill anybody. So if he does a move and he's like swings somebody and you try to throw them off, let's
Mm-hmm.
say you try to throw them off the edge of a building or off a bridge, the webbing will always somehow adhere to the closest thing possible so they get stuck so you don't kill anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's just baked into the whole thing with Spider-Man. Spider-Man's not, you want to come over here and be a little, you want to be a little Jimmy Jack over here and say, I'm gonna get Spidey to kill someone. No, they've already put it into the program. Spidey doesn't kill. Not gonna happen. This one over here, from what I'm seeing, I don't think there'll be that type of fail-safe in the game. He's good grief. I was like, at least they made them androids. This dude's just splitting people in half, gutting them, three claws right from the chin through the brain. And then you got Mystique. She's right over there. She's like, I'm not too bad at this either. Straight up kill.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what they want. You,
Well,
you didn't spend $800 on a PS5 to have Wolverine just slap him around a bit.
it's interesting if you because even though Chris Claremont and what was it Dave Cockrum, they were kind of not enchanted by Wolverine. the scenes that they would have him do where Nightcrawler would do something and Wolverine would be like going, trying to kill him, and you see him teleport or then say, he's like, oh, Colossus swatted me. I always wanted to try my claws against you, and then Storm gets in the middle, and so it hinted that, and then they were still like not keen on him, and Byrne is like, like why not? And he got to do some first scenes where he'd be like killing guards in the Savage Land, and where was able to talk Shooter out of saying, like, because we had cons and they're like, yes, he killed those guys in the what's the name, and the kids are loving it. And then next thing you know, you have the later stuff where obviously, but at the same time, there are also some endearing moments that started to appeal to, even though that's funny because even though Chris Claremont was iffy and was thinking about getting rid of him, like Byrne also says that the scene where Wolverine goes up to the deer and tries to touch it, not to kill it, and that was Chris Claremont. So even when Byrne got there, they were still kind of both adding stuff to Wolverine. It was just ballooned in, some of the even moments, not of just killing, but also when Storm doesn't save Garak in the Savage Land, and she comes back and Banshee's about to run over, and Wolverine's like, no. She probably needs some time alone. She went to save someone, and she came up alone. So we have these moments, and it kind of was starting to appeal to Chris. And they're also competing, and at the same time, they also, I think George Perez, they did the cover where Magneto has the claw to Wolverine's face, and they got hair on the hairy arms, which you'd see when he had no clothes on. He was hairy, but when he had the Wolverine outfit on, it looked like Robin having like a sleeve. So they said, and they were, they were forbidden to do the hair on the bare arms. And then they saw that cover, and they were like, I think Terry Austin and Byrne are like, did George not see the design? He's like, he's gonna get us in trouble. He's like, nope, nobody said anything. Let's start adding, and they both started adding hair. So this to say all that to say, the snowball effect Wolverine has had over time, where everyone is adding to it. So you have, the initial, you have Lee Wang, who wanted him to be homicidal and had that killer instinct, and then
he got his wish.
But as they keep going, Claremont and Cockrum didn't give that up. They just were, they just didn't like he was the SOB. And Byrne said, no, that portion is fun. And of course, as you see, Claremont kind of went to try to give him a little more nobility to it. But at the same time, as you said, when it got to the miniseries, you up the death rate, right? So at some point, Marvel is getting, and that's the strange thing. We're going to do a show about something that, not related to this, but it's interesting how Marvel went from, with Shooter protecting and saying Wolverine isn't killing these people, as you were mentioning, that he said the guys he killed in the Hellfire Club or became cyborgs, that probably Charles Xavier paid for them for some strange reason, which makes no sense because nobody cared for those guys, but he had them come back and they were red Hellfire outfits to say that they were cyborgs. So then as you go along, you get the Wolverine miniseries, the death count goes off. They're not saying that these guys are in the hospital, okay. And then you get the Wolverine regular series, and that the ad on it is just Wolverine over top a ton of people. So with the Conan on the great John Buscema doing Wolverine and pulling out all the stops with inking by Al Williamson. So it was a great period and a very bloody period. And as it gone along, you've seen artists bring in the whole, seeing the metal. Now I think people get kind of ridiculous when they say you punch Wolverine and you hurt your hand. That was never shown, and I understand he's got adamantium and it's not breakable, but let's throw that out because Wolverine been swatted around by regular people and punched by regular people and not hurt. So let's not say we got to just establish that adamantium, as far as it's unbreakable. That doesn't mean that it's like hitting a brick wall, because they didn't establish that early on. Don't try to say, oh, Captain America can't punch him because it's going to hurt his hand. Get out of here with that crap. But anyway, what are you going to say? Sorry.
No, because no, because the whole idea is he's not made of adamantium. It's an adamantium skeleton,
Hmm.
and so there's plenty of places. There's plenty of places you could hit him without a particular issue at the end of the day. But I don't know. There's a whole bunch of comic book stuff that's supposed to be built in where realism shouldn't overtake the ability for these, sort of things that will be entertaining to happen. But then, you got guys who've been reading the books for 40, 50 years. So,
Yeah, no,
they go back to those original stories like, hey,
well,
hey,
the fact that they're puzzled by it now and saying, "Hey, how could Iron Fist do this or toss him around?" He's a martial artist. He knows he's
yeah,
been practicing martial artists for 100 years, and it's like, no, he was just originally he's supposed to be 19, he's supposed to be a part of the X-Men, so he's like 19, a hothead, sob, and then with the way Dave Crowden gave him a face, and Len was like, well, this ages him to 40, and then you get Byrne and Claremont like, no, he's like because they couldn't figure out what his power was. They was gonna say he was gonna be mutated Wolverine that turned into a human, and then next thing you know, they decided, well, his power is regeneration. That's his mutant powers. And said, well, what about all
hey, we dodged a bullet, huh? We dodged a bullet on that one.
but it's like they were like, well, where all of the senses
Hair.
and all that stuff coming through. No, that stuff he learned over the years of being in the woods and all that stuff. So, but then
Well,
forget
they
that.
they flipped that. I said, well, they flipped that.
Yeah. So,
Like, what is it? I think the handbook had something like Wolverine's weight is something like he's 400 pounds because of the adamantium, which I always thought was ridiculous
yeah,
because he'd never be. There's no way he'd be able to do any of that stuff regardless of his strength. He'd be landing and like literally plummeting right through roofs.
yeah,
All the stuff you want to see. Couldn't be. The
yeah.
motorcycles. All this stuff would be so much more difficult. And I was just like, look, just because he has adamantium doesn't mean this has to be adamantium is that heavy. They went over there, they did all this stuff. Can't the adamantium just be lighter? They pretty much make adamantium, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like you can just make it lighter. It's like, oh, how much? Let's say it adds like an extra, 20, 20, 30 pounds to him at the end of the day. This would have been it. So he's, put him at 250. Reasonable, no problem. No, that metal should be much heavier. It's like, but it doesn't make any sense. And it's a comic book. I can make the metal weigh as much as I want.
The other thing is the hard part with Wolverine, and I realized this when I think Byrne was on the miniseries. No, he was on the regular series. There's a lot of cheats when it comes to Wolverine because, like, a lot of times he gets to the person really quick, and it could be a fast person, but and when you see him leaping around, that sort of thing, and Byrne kind of lessened that. He kind of said, all right, let me have him jumping off of something instead of having him flying, and it's like, you know what, if done right, then you can see that he's just not the ultimate superhero. But I think nowadays he looks at like the ultimate superhero, ultimate fighter, ultimate everything, and that sort of thing. Now he's as a cannon fodder, but but good lord. So yeah, no, it's gonna be fun for the gamers. You know how gamers are, young and old. They're gonna be cursing, saying some profanities and whatnot, playing this game, cursing the person out. I'll just cut your arm off. F you, suck it. But yeah, this is This is interesting. Is this a game you would play? I know you game from time to time.
Yeah, this would definitely be something. Well, yeah, I have to admit, as much as critical as I am, and I don't like all the killing, I'd probably get into it. Like, yeah,
So yeah, I mean, obviously to put all this together, it's gonna take, I guess, well, this, good lord, now we finally. Well, the problem is there's nothing done right. Wolverine's finished here. There's nothing he could do to Sentinel, unless the Sentinel is on its last leg. But it's cooler to have the way the Sentinels being wimpy. They look menacing, and then Wolverine can take out two or three. Spider-Man can take out three by himself. So every time I see the Sentinels, I get hyped up because I think of the Days of Future Past, and then no one takes that lead. Or Neil Adams when he did them. even just to a less extent, even Kirby. But even though it wasn't Kirby, it was Werner Roth who did the finishing. So it wasn't as dynamic as it could have been. But Neil Adams and Byrne doing Sentinels that really can do stuff. And they, yeah, I guess the cartoon they did the Sentinel that used again Grant Morrison and Josh Whedon, the one Josh Whedon used from Grant Morrison's thing, whatever the Tri Sentinel, doing stuff the way he actually killed a mutant. So there we go. Wolverine fall 2026. Again, it's got a year less. I guess it's less than a year from now, or maybe a year from now. You'll be getting to see this, and we'll report back to you, and or report back to us, because I know you gamers out there watching this, and let us know what it's like. And I guess that's about it. Any other last words?
No, but it does look good.
Spinner Rack is
Out.